I'm running because I'm seeing something quite horrific here. Office chairs trying to breed. Look at this, get off! Get off! I can't, oh man, I can't believe it! Can you believe it? Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4 office chairs. And that's going to be way too much for today's ridiculous YouTube. Okay, it is time to do one of my favourite styles of videos. I'm trying to get my mental health back in check after YouTube's tried to destroy my channel, so I went out and I wandered the suburbs, checking out what people were throwing out during the curbside cleanup that happens twice a year in the suburb of Sydney where I live. This time around there seems to be a very different dynamic going on. Our suburb has lost its charity shop, and this leaves people throwing out things that would normally end up being repurposed and reused via the charity shop. One very disturbing trend I see is very recent Thomas & Friends Trackmaster toy playset components are now ending up in the rubbish pile in very short time. For me, what people throw out tells me a story. Every rubbish pile speaks to me. Is there such a thing as good made in China? Or is everything that's been thrown out the bad stuff that's made in China? As you watch this video, you'll see many things, you'll see recurring themes, but can you pick the trash from the treasure? I do go back and revisit sites where I see things to see if they've been picked up by people who repurpose things or resell them. And in a throwback to my earlier adventures on YouTube, I have thrown in a secret hidden feature. And that's there because if you've suffered a video like this, you need something special in it. Let's do it. Okay, look what I found here. This has only just appeared. It wasn't here yesterday. It is a beautiful Disney princess castle. Some nice little features on this. Let me set the time to what it is as I'm walking around. I think it's something like that. 7 something. Okay. Yes, multi-platformed, nicely detailed, but not overly detailed. I think your princess got there and got the spin of a life. Oh, the music started. Here comes my DMCA. Well, down the bottom there, looks like someone's blowing the door in, probably Shrek. And there's a staircase here, so your little princesses could go on a merry jaunt up and down this place. You know, if you had an elaborate castle, you would have a elevator. I saw this here, and I thought, wonder what that is, and then I just realised it's actually part of the castle. So let's just make it right, hey? Let's construct instead of destruct. Well, I'm hoping with this out on the road here, some other parent with younger children will see this and think that'll be a beautiful, nice little thing to repurpose and reuse. It'd be very sad to see this wonderful castle here basically destroyed by the rubbish pile pickup. These days we live in this throwaway society where even the most elaborate Disney princess is a one-purpose chuck-away item. Every pile of rubbish always has a story, and I totally lose count about how many office chairs that I see in the rubbish piles. In fact, I think this is a new grand epidemic, and I've already covered that, especially in one of these styles of videos. There's a spider living there. I don't really want to know much more about that. And there is like a, I don't know, made little cakes or something thing. There's a, it's a rubbishy made in China thing. We'll look under here and we'll work it out. Okay, a little pancake maker, home maker. Look at that, country of origin, China. Every time I see this, it's a win for them and a lose for us. You might just think that's a bit of timber and some old carpet. If I go back here like this, guess what? It's another office chair. Okay, some timber there, a little bit of plastic tubberage, and a microwave oven. And it's something I learned about these after looking at my mum's one, which lasted forever. That was a made in Japan one. Microwaves of today seem not to last too long. I know where to look to see where this is made. It's down here. I'll have to do some weird twisteroonies here to see the spot. Okay, I'm sort of working my head to the side here, just scanning along there. Maybe you'll see a date or something, but what I want to see, there it is there, made in China. It's one of these microwaves that's an inverter one. The one thing I'd say about microwaves of today, they are fairly light units versus the good old days. Maybe the back will tell me something. There's that read there. You can pause and read that, which I don't think is anything special, and there's just a warning thing there in 2 languages, I hope. To me, it doesn't seem that old. With microwave ovens, it's often hard to tell their age. Maybe it was in code in there, but they tend to look all the same, even the older ones. Wow, just a massive assortment of stuff. It looks like someone's whole house contents just been sprayed out into the roads. There's some shoes there and some coolers from a bygone era. That's what you put your wine bottles in there. But for the rail fans, between these bed frames, look at this here. It's a metal tray. Old style, isn't it? Semaphore signal there and a green train. I've got no idea what that train is. The number on the front will reveal it to the rail fans. Okay, who knows their trains and what one is it? This would have been lovely. It's a shame it's so rusted up. The one underneath, it's a horsey pattern. To me, it's feeling like stuff from the 70s. But I might be wrong, and so often I am. Okay, this is going to be worthwhile to talk about, even though you may think there's nothing on the curbside here. There is something there that is basically the new trend in the suburban city where I live. And let's talk about these bottles. Let me gather these together first. Well, I think there's been a drinking session going on here, but mind you, I've noticed that people are putting out donations to a can and bottle collecting lady. In fact, that's still got alcohol in it. Look at that. Hey, is that Thai beer? Chang. Isn't that elephant in Thai? I know you'll correct me or tell me. Anyway, where I live, this should be worth 10, 20, 30, 40 cents of returns here. And if you read carefully on the bottle here, it talks about the 10 cents refund. So a very simple economic statement here is I could actually make more money by picking up these bottles here and returning them than posting a stupid video to YouTube like this, because, well, basically YouTube has become dysfunctional with income. But I'm sure the bottle lady will come along and tidy this up and also make a very neat little profit with returning these bottles here. And believe me here, I dare say she is far smarter than me by doing so. Yes, nothing more beautiful than seeing a nice office chair on the rubbish piles. I don't think there's much there to look at. That rubbish pile is the same. Looks like rubbish to me. Mind you, this pile here might produce the goods. There's a bit of a bed there. And we come around here. Oh my crikeys. Oh my goodness me. May the fast be with you. Rightio, this is a Star Wars toy from not that long ago. It's the one of R2-D2 in Australia where I live. These weren't cheap from my memory. It looks like we've got our wing set on that side, but unfortunately we're missing some wings there. It's funny, in my mind this has got a purpose, because you could set it up in your backyard like a crashed X-Wing fighter. For the fact you could set it up on the ground like that, have it displaying like that, might be sort of awesome. You could dress it down and whatnot, and at least give R2-D2 something to do in the backyard. Yes, I remember this one. It was a bit of a disappointment because you couldn't split the wings like X-Wing fighters do. Maybe I should look, maybe the missing wing is down here somewhere. Oh, well, there's a find, isn't it? Hey, hope there's no spiders on it. It's a Happy Meal toy minion. Well, that is a nice find. Maybe I could pull off the ultimate mashup here. Star Wars meets Despicable Me. Most possibly that is just going to annoy people. I'm going to take this minion, but I think I'll leave this for some other child to find. I'm sure it can be repurposed, especially if I leave it in a far more prominent position. Apart from the glorious X-Wing that we sort of, well, we didn't say, but someone else hopefully will. I do notice down here, a bit of glory poking out of a box. A nice Canbrook frying pan there. Who knows what era that's from. And it looks like a Transformers toy. It doesn't look that old. I know the Transformers fans are going to tell me all about this one. Hey, are there parts missing on this? Looks like something may have gone in the back. Anyway, that looks awesome. I mean, what's it doing on the rubbish piles? Certainly more evidence we live in a horrible throwaway society. I will be keeping this one because I think it looks awesome. And I am a bit curious about the Canbrook product here. That is the thing that powers up the frying pan. What year is it? Oh, I've seen enough made in China. It's certainly more evidence to me we live in a very, very bizarre throwaway society, and I'll pack it away. Piles of rubbish, piles of rubbish. It is amazing what people throw out. Now look in this box here. Mind you, it's all children's toys in there. I can see a Buzz Lightyear. Look at that there. Peppa Pig. Whatever that thing there is. Whole ton of toys in there. Okay, just perusing over these boxes here. Perusing. In there is a Pooh Bear there. There is a Black & Decker dust buster thing there. Cyclonic action. What does that really mean? What does cyclonic action really mean, hey? It means it's in the bin, I think. We go along further here. we just see, well, general rubbish, which is real rubbish. Bit of a, I don't know, what's that, a rice cooker thing there. Great big box from a Sony Bravia, so obviously they bought one of those. It's inside the house there. But hiding under the box here is what I like to find in the rubbish piles. A Dyson! Yay! I look at a lot of rubbish piles on the side of the road at council pickup time. Yes, it's a Dyson. I haven't got this model before, I don't think. I'm just a bit scared at the moment of redback spiders. I'm very careful what I touch these days. Dyson up there. Where's the DC number on this one? Wow, it's got its attachments there. There are some more attachments down here. Look at that there. Whoopee, eh? And that was an innovation that Dyson brought in, the see-through dust collection area. Everyone copied that. I bet you didn't know that. I know that. It's a DC-14. Yay! I'm very happy that I've got one now, and you can see the Dyson brilliance is still seen in this machine. Mind you, I'm trying to work out how to take out the dust collection area. I'll have to take it home and work it out. I'm just checking for spiders under here. I just saw a great big daddy long legs. I'm a bit dubious about putting this in the car unless I really check for spiders. You can see that it's had a bit, well, obviously had a bit of a life. There's stuff caught around the brush there. Yeah, there's more spider web down there, and that there tells us more about this vacuum cleaner. I think it's a 2002 model, I think. If I'm wrong, please forgive me. So being in a DC-14, it's a bit of an earlier model, but hey, that doesn't bother me. I think it was a DC-07 where they really became the Dyson goodness, and there's bits like that that come off. Obviously the check for clogged areas, it's all Dyson nice. Oh yes, another one which I think's got a beautiful repurposed thing if you cleaned it up a little bit. A nice little rocking horse or rocking pony. Wow, once again would have been for a younger child. Just needs a little bit of tidying up, and it could be reused. Sadly, we don't have a charity shop in the suburb anymore. I'm noticing really good stuff is being thrown out, and that's rather sad to see. Okay, I can see a little rubbish pile up here, and I can also see a shopping trolley, so the kids have been playing Fortnite in real life. It's well, a real classic pile of assorted rubbish and some stinky carpet and things. Ooh, okay, that's curious there. It looks rather nice. I've never seen one of these. It's an electric sort of mimicking motorbike, obviously for children. I can only assume it's Razor brand. I can see Razor there. I don't remember seeing these at all in the shops. The electric motor is there. But what's sort of spooking me out is the great big spider nest that's right there. Yes, on the front strut, they're upside down. We all know that company, don't we? Especially for little scooters and stuff. And I've actually got my spider tweezers with me. I think it's just a black house spider leaves a web like this. Okay, well I think it is. The chances of it coming out and saying hello are probably minimal. It's probably scampered in the other direction now I'm doing this. Wow, it's got a nice feel to it, and it's quite hefty as well. Yeah, hey? It's almost like a thing of the future. I thought everything was going battery powered, and this would be like the way we all move around. Wow, it's really nice. I've just spun it around so we can take a look at that information there. If I turn the camera like this, we can go in and have a good look. There's a little product information thing there. You may know this product, and then there is that one there, barcode blah blah, might tell us a year or something. I can see made in China. Yes, I can see a year there, 040315. It's a few years back because I'm shooting this in 2018. Yeah, so it's had a few years of life. It's a bit rusty, it's a bit spiderific. It's a curious one. It's sort of nice. Oh, this is a curious one. Sometimes you'll see boxes set up, you know, little free things inside. Energy saving, still good, free to take. Yeah, so these are your compact fluorescent type bulbs. And what's really replaced them is LEDs. But then again, I could start to talk about the scam of the LED in relation to lumens. Okay, well, let's not go there in this video. Yes, that's a nice thing to do, isn't it? Hey, someone's going to come along and pick these up and use them. Oh, trying to see some order in the disorder here. All bits of paraphernalia. Some people come along and pick up things like hose and reuse it, and bits of shelving and whatnot. But maybe what's down here, okay, I can see stuff that I recognise. Who's got their Thomas and Friends eyes on, hey? Yep, that's, I forgot the name of the set, but that's when he's in danger going around that corner. On the rubbish piles. from that I could make a terrarium, a spider home. That's how my brain thinks these days. Keep them as pets, I say. Octonauts, what do you reckon? Hey, I'm only guessing there. I can see another part of that playset, but I'm not seeing the bits that I really want to see. Actually, that myself, yeah, Octonauts. It's basically Star Trek Thunderbirds rip-off, I say. That'll enrage the Octonauts fans. You know, if we had the charity shop, that's the sort of thing that you'd find down there for 50 cents. And the way I say it is, we are much poorer for losing the Lions charity shop, and I'm always putting things back the way I found it, or else people report this to the police. Ah yes, another pile of rubbish, but what I can see there, can you see what I can see? In the bin there, I can see 20 cents of bottles. I feel like grabbing those and actually making some money in this video, but I can also see here some wretched vandalism. This happens all the time in my neighbourhood, and I'm sick and tired of seeing it. Oh yes, looking very much like a piece of art in my eyes. Another beautiful pile of very mixed up sort of rubbish, children's or baby car seat there. What would have been like a very El Cheapo, I was going to say spider tank, but fish tank. Okay, obviously some children's play tables here, the electronic sort, which I often thought are a total waste of time, but that's my personal opinion. A vacuum cleaner here. It's looking generic style, isn't it, hey? Yes, and it is. I'm not surprised at all seeing that out in the rubbish pile. And another electronic little toy that I think are a total waste of time. I said it twice. Just flipping over to the other side of this pile, there's a toy here. It looks like a bit of fun. Let's say you put a ball or something, he goes down to the bottom, and on the other side you do like a roll your ball or whatever down this side here. And it's sort of curious because since we lost our charity shop, I see a lot more of these styles of toys that could be easily repurposed. Oh my crikeys, this is a mammoth amount of stuff here. I don't really want to get tied up in this one. It looks all ratty in a sense. And there's another trolley from the children playing Fortnite in the suburb. Well, out in the rubbish piles, ex-baby stuff is often what you see. But I tell you what, look at this here. Look at that right there. Let's see if I can see a name on it without getting bitten by a redback or something. Can't quite see anything jumping out at me. Boy, it's nice, isn't it? It's just big, sort of rough and tough. It could be like a custom sort of thing. Wow, and there's the tender. I've never quite seen anything like it. I'm just trying to recognise that style of wheel. It's like a giant button, would be the best way to describe it. You can see the scale of my hand to the wheel there. There's the front wheels there. I can see dowel used here for the buffers. It's actually looking to me like it might be an elaborate school project. I just changed exposure there. I'm very sorry about that. Yeah, well, like something from a men's shed, if that makes any sense. Whatever it is, it's quite elaborate. We're looking inside the driver's cabin here, and lo and behold, there's actually spiders in there. There's some little spiderlings. I thought it'd be a bit of a spider nest. Yeah, one of the more unusual things I've ever seen on the rubbish pile. Quite nice, and it's sort of sad that it hasn't got a proper home to go to. Just where the train was, there's also a box of miscellaneous toys. I often see boxes like this out there. That's a mushy monster, isn't it? There. One of the penguins from, I don't know, how'd you go? Oh, look at this here, yay! That's a find. Cool, Pez. And another Pez, Cars Pez there. Very, very cool. We might take those. Sometimes you'll see the strangest theme going on in the rubbish pile. Too often it's office chairs. But this time around, it looks like it's compost bins and things. If you're into composting, there's plenty of composters to be found here. Everywhere I look here, there's another compost device. Maybe I could turn this into the ultimate redback spider home. Well, in fact, I think they've beat me to it. I can see signs of those spiders already in there, especially if I come around and take a look at that there. Now I have a closer look at these compost bins. They are just a spider festival. Oh yeah, want to put your hands in there and find out who's going to play with you? Oh yeah, very nice. A sort of pile of rubbish and things. I can see a few toys and stuff hiding in there. In fact, what's that there? Do I want to know about that or not? Tidmouth, so it's a Thomasy thing. Wow. Has it got spiders through it? That's the problem, isn't it? Hey, what era is that from? I know the Thomas fans will point that one out to me. I think it's one of those. I think it's one of those ones that had a larger Thomas. I think it's stuck. I know this one now. Yes, thank goodness. It was one that stuck onto your bathroom wall. The suction cups there. Oh, I'm glad I know, else I'd look like a dunce, wouldn't I? I think I've had one of these. Yeah, very much a sort of throwaway Thomasy thing, hey? But what is really nice here, and rarely ever seen in the rubbish pile, is something dealing with Lego. There's a real assortment of things here I don't really want to know about it. It looks pretty well wrecked. Vacuum cleaner upside down there, a melee actually. Well, I don't really want to touch it, normally I would. And yeah, a whole bunch of DVDs, because streaming is now taking over, isn't it? And a whole bunch of toys in there. I really don't want to pull it apart, but yeah, a real mixed bag. Sorry for the pun. Well, another microwave oven, a very, very common thing I see out in the rubbish pile. It doesn't look like it's done too much work, but then again, microwaves can easily mask their...
Rust.
Yeah, they do rust. Actually, the owner of this one's next to me. But the main thing I want to point out about this one is what's here. Yeah, so just scanning along the information there. I'm looking for you, Dave. Maybe it's hidden in a number there somewhere. There we go. Made in China. I just had to give up on that microwave, but council came along and decided to cut some trees. Very nice of them. Apart from the tree loppers, I'm now up against the council clean-up truck, so about to pick this up. I've got to finish this off. Yeah, had a good chat to the owners about this. What was happening with this, and I like to hear these stories, is it would heat one meal correctly, but then the second meal that went into this, it would fail to heat, and we think this is around about the 10-year mark, 12-year-ish. I'm sure someone who sees that there in the video will be able to decipher the code. Oh, another scourge of the rubbish pile, and I see tons of these steam cleaner, steam mops. Yeah, don't touch them. There's the info on that steam mop, made in China. I also see tucked in here, looks like a coffee maker, looks fancy, Breville. I wonder where this one's made, hey? There we go, there again, made in China. And maybe the only thing of real value here that hasn't been snipped away is this electrical cable. Copper, copper, copper. Alrighty, another lovely pile of rubbish here. And what I like to look at here is a couple of fire trucks very quickly. Here's one here, sadly it's an all plastic, fantastic sort of thing. At least it's still got its wheels. You could clean this up and yeah, you could still play. It is a Tonka. I'm just seeing Tonka Hasbro there. I never knew they did all plastic. Looks like it would have had a sound feature. Oh, look at that. It still goes, you know, a bit of cleaning up. You know, that's still got life in it. And there's another one over there. Okay, this one is inverted. Maybe being upside down is going to tell us a story to start with, because as I found out at my home, toys like this become spider nests, so I'm being a little bit careful here. Usually if you see a web, usually you're going to find a spider. There's a bit of web down in that corner there. Okay, this is another Tonka truck, but it's one of the ones where it's basically all plastic here and, you know, very little metal here. There's no value in that at all. But strangely, what I find endearing about this, and I look at a lot of toys, and sometimes you see toys which look like they haven't been played with, and other ones which do. This has had a lot of play. Oh yeah, it's gone brittle because it's been out in the sun. And it looks like, you know, this fire truck's had a couple of crashes and bashes and stacks. And that can be seen by the lack of windscreen there, you know, dings here. Would have given a child much joy. But maybe what's more fun than a fire engine in life is a fake chainsaw. They're the ones you learn to juggle before you start juggling the real ones. Okay, well, my saying in life is rustic is far nicer than plastic. This is a very rustic cement mixer. It's from a bygone era. I can only assume that it's not made in China. It's got a lovely metal wheel there. It would make a fantastic garden ornament. I'm sort of thinking of those guys on American Pickers. I think they'd get excited by something like this. And it's from a bygone era because, you know, boys and girls, before we had electric motors and petrol motors and all, we used to do this. It would have been hard work, I dare say, but the fact that it still works is probably testament to its engineering. The principle of how it spins really hasn't changed that much to today. It's very hard to gauge how old that is, but going by the style of it, I'm sort of thinking it's a bygone era thing, but then again, you can be easily fooled, or I can be. And there's one mysterious piece on this. I just don't know what this piece here does. It looks like something went on here, and there would have been a time when, you know, I don't know. Well, I just had a chat to that gentleman there, and he actually revealed the revelation to me. He said this is about 50 or 60 years old. I'm trusting him because, put it this way, he's from that era, and he said to me he knows what this is, so the audience don't need to tell me. And it's not until you touch it you realise, okay, it's a thing for spinning at the front here to operate it from the front, okay? And the fact that that spins on there is very much giving away that that's what that's for. So, mystery solved by someone a bit older than me who walks a suburb. Yes, with age comes much rust, but you know what else comes with age? Wisdom. It's wisdom that solves problems like that. I wouldn't be surprised if someone doesn't pick it up purely as a garden ornament. That's what it's shouting out at me. It looks fantastic. Soft toys, and they're wet and they're going to start to get stinky, and I'm never really impressed by soft toys. Oh, hang on a second. I'm taking this home. I can't believe it. It's Mr. Doobie from Romper Room. Wow. Oh, wow. Do you guys have Romper Room? Oh man, I'm so excited. I'm taking that one home. That is fantastic. Look at that. There you go. I am impressed by soft toys. So who else is down there? Nah, Big Bird can stay there. There's a doggy toy there. In fact, there's a few doggy toys. What is that? It's chips. Must have been a doggy toy. Anyway, you're probably thinking, Leo, we haven't seen many barbecues on this time around. Look at the rubbish piles. Don't worry. They're always there. I've just been keeping them out of frame. And I'm not joking about Mr. Doobie. She's a keeper. The brand of this one is Cambrook. Okay, I looked inside here. There's no information inside that jam, which will send me to the back of this machine. We also noticed that whatever people take from in there, and I've forgotten what it is, has been removed. This machine, I don't know, it just seems like a cheap and nasty, but maybe I'm being a bit rude in saying it. I'm just trying to see if there's information on the back here. Yes, there it is. So let's take a look at this. I'm looking really for a year and where it's made. Okay, well here, Cambrook blah blah blah. Okay, the output of it, and made in China to our exact specifications. But I'm not seeing a year of when this was made. I feel these days they tend to hide the year of when something's made from China quite well. I do see this barcode here. Maybe that will reveal something to somebody who knows what they're looking at. Microwave ovens, yes, like office chairs and barbecues, are very, very frequent on the rubbish piles. That there is it's a work zone shop vac, as I'll call it, one you'd buy from Aldi. And there's actually another vacuum cleaner here. It looks like a generic thing, trying to be a Dyson. We might investigate this one actually. We'll just see what it says on the back here. Okay, Home & Co, vacuum cleaner, blah, blah, blah. Can we see any year date on that? Maybe it's incorporated there in a secret way. But down there, made in China. Very hard to tell how much work this has done. Mind you, it doesn't look like it's done that much. And I often can tell by how much scuffing is on these things and knocks around, because that's what happens with vacuum cleaners when you use them. The dust collection area is trying to emulate a Dyson. I'm a bit curious about this one, and I will take out this section here and we'll pull it down just to see what's going on, hey? Be a nice thing to do. Always helps to sometimes read the instructions here on how to clean this. And I'm talking about water cleaning the filter here. So this is, I believe, the pre-motor filter. It doesn't look like it's had that much work. Okay, wow, this is a curious one, I can tell you. And if I pull this piece out here, this is looking very Dyson-y, I can tell you. Look at this, it's got the cones there, and it's even got a structure with holes going down there, and it looks like those cones are very much replicating the look of a Dyson. You can see up inside there. Wow. I thought that was really crossing the line when it comes to, you know, to Dyson's design. Or is that just Fako stuff? It does nothing. Ooh, wow. That is a very, very curious one indeed, I can tell you. Just put that back in there just to get my head around the way the air moves in here and how this part works, just as it falls to the ground. This is coming up off the floor, and I can see little bits and pieces in there which haven't made it up into this area here. So the dirt goes up there. Okay, you have to follow me here. It would channel up the middle there. And this is a curious one because it actually exits here and then would be spinning around inside the dust collection area. And I'm just trying to get my head around, how do the cones work in this? Or are they doing anything, or is this just for show? I can see dust in amongst well, the area between the inside and the outside in a sense, and the fact we can see up through those cones. Wow, is this just the greatest fraud, or is this really trying to knock into Dyson's design? It's got me a little bit spooked, and of course it's the top bit here, and the air return on this thing, yeah, it comes out the top here after it goes through that top filter, and if it makes any sense, it shoots out there. Very, very, very curious. And I've got a bit of a thing about vacuum cleaners, and I've looked at quite a few of them. Seeing this one's really caught me out, and I'm just trying to put it back because I will put the rubbish pile back as it was, because I sort of know these people as well. In fact, I might speak to them and ask them how this thing performed. Very curious. Yes, for me, that was one of the more interesting things that I've seen on the rubbish piles in a long time. What I was surprised by seeing that there. Office chairs. Oh yes, just lovely in more ways than one. Beautiful order of the things here, nice stack of chairs. And one of those Aldi vacuum cleaners. I start to lose count about how many of these I see in the rubbish piles, and this is one which hasn't got any sort of, we'll just say, Fako Dyson thing going on. So the cones on that one, they're fakers. I might get lucky here and I'll look out for a date. Just coming down here, take a look at this. Okay, I can read that there, and I can see 10/2014. So it makes it 4 years old. I dare say it was a cheap unit. In fact, I know these were cheap units. Yeah, under the realm of good China versus bad China, I'm classifying that one as bad China. Have I spoken about steam mops yet in this video? I don't know how it's going to be edited together, but again, I'm seeing steam mops on the rubbish pile. I see it way too often, so it's telling me something about those items. But I'll tell you what I see here, just behind the barbecue there that we won't feature. Wow, look at that. That's a very recent Dyson. That's the boxing. That's one that I really want to have. But sadly, Dyson don't speak to me anymore. Maybe I was a little bit too positive in speaking about their products and they ditched me. Yeah, that's very reminiscent of the Dysons that I've purchased. They have some remarkable boxing going on inside their boxes. Oh yes, a very nice purchase. I can only assume that maybe these people had a Dyson before, but more likely they had a cruddy vacuum cleaner that just clogs up. Okay, it's another pile of rubbish. Very much an assortment of things here, but my eyes are keying on something rather curious here, and in a strange way I'm not at all surprised. Maybe if I start picking these components up, you'll start to recognize what this is. I'm just scratching my head at the name of this Thomas & Friends playset. Well, in my mind it's only fairly recent history. There's another component there. It was a Trackmaster 2 Thomas set. Thomas and the Great Bridge Jump or something, wasn't it? Harold the helicopter heliport is up here. Thomas would do like a powered spiral thing to the top, but I think on this playset you had to physically reset it down like this, and I think that might have been one of the big fails of this playset, and it goes up automatically. So it was a one-way playset for the fact that you had to come along and physically reset it. Nevertheless, that component still works, hey? Sort of nice. And I think what would happen is Thomas would trigger and he'd go down this sort of big swoop, you know, death-defying, come through here and then fly off into the oblivion up there. But to get to my point about this style of playset, and I've sort of haunted upon this in other times when I've spoken about Thomas sets, particularly Trackmaster 2, it's components like this that sort of mean nothing once the playset is pulled apart. I hope you understand what I'm saying there. I'm not being too cruel to Mr. Mattel. Put it this way, I can see these ground components here, okay, which form a majority of the playset, but I'm not seeing anywhere else the what I call normal bits of track that this playset would use. Now I've actually gone through everything here. I better show you because you say you're not looking, Leo. Could be redbacks in there. There isn't this time. Nowhere to be seen is the rest of that playset, and that's what I don't like about the modern styles of playsets that seem to have these trick areas like this that just become fodder for the rubbish pile, and I'm starting to see it over and over and over. I just noticed on the ground here a little Hot Wheels vehicle, and it's sort of sad that people come along and buy these toys as elaborate as they are, and this looks very, very fresh, I can tell you, and they sort of don't have any other purpose in life. Maybe I could repurpose it with this Hot Wheels vehicle. Okay, go. Yeah! And wouldn't it be nice if all of the play sets spoke together and this did become some sort of Hot Wheels set, because it'd be fantastic if everything talked together, but the toy companies don't make it like that. Let's do one more of the car. Okay, yeah! Woo! When I look at Trackmaster 2, how often have I said, go and look at the side of the box, look at what are normal track parts versus these fancy bits like this. You know why I do that? Because, well, the fancy bits like this aren't that fancy. Oh, okay. Is this a good one or is this a bad one? It looks impressive. It looked impressive from a distance, but now I get a little bit closer. Yeah, I don't think this is the sort of ritzy model that I was hoping for. Has anyone out there had one of those? Tough stuff on the front there. I'm looking for a brand name, and that's going to tell me whether this is a good one or a bad one. This is the driving side of it. I've still got a battery in there making sounds. Okay, on-off switches there. From the sounds, it's the cheap one, I think. And that'd be like the accelerator pedal there, it does nothing. Maybe carefully looking underneath will reveal a little bit more to me, hey? Oh, and some spiders. It's got a bit of a metal front suspension area there, so it looks fairly tough in that realm. I can see it's actually heavily spider infested. There's actually a spider nest and egg sac inside this bit here. I know there's some people that don't believe me, but sometimes I've got to take bits off to show you what's going on. Okay, there's a spider egg sac there. Oh my goodness me. Oh, I'm taking my hands off this. There is spider activity, spider eggs, redback spiders. Just let the noisy siren go by here. Yeah! You know, the more I look at this, the more horrific it looks. Whoever was riding this little bikey trike thing, I wonder whether they knew they had a redback spider condominium going on. That egg sac there is empty, okay, because it's the middle of winter when I'm shooting this. And if I look down here, we get a, well, it's just horror story. Okay, there's dead spiders there. There's actually a dead female redback there. Okay, and what is interesting to me and very curious, I think, is look what that's killed here. Okay, that there is a skink. So more proof that the redbacks will take out skinks. And when I put one of those into the spider tank, man, did people scream at me. It's a natural thing, and there's more proof of it. Okay, I'll hopefully make some sort of sense out of this and be highly educational, or someone will flag me. Basically what we see here is one nest from a redback spider. This is your typical sort of large breeding female would make this many eggs in a spider season. Okay, you can see the things that she has fed on along the way. That skink would have been a major catch, and it's really the large multi-year females would be able to pull that sort of kill off. But all in all, really an impressive show of what a redback can get up to in one spot. I know you'll be curious, the egg sacs are empty, and I can tell that by their colour. Just before they hatch, they turn this sort of dark, ominous colour of basically hundreds and hundreds of spiderlings about to emerge. I think you've seen this. It's a great wake-up call to anyone who's picking up things from the rubbish pile, because unless you've got very trained eyes, sometimes you just don't understand what you're getting yourself into. And really, by going from what I can see here, there would be a very, very high likelihood that Mrs. Redback would be in winter wonderland mode, hiding up inside this vehicle here somewhere. Chances of seeing it right now in the middle of winter, probably zero. I almost feel like putting a warning sign on this here, but then again, who's ever going to believe me, hey? Rightio, it's another pile of rubbish by the side of the road. It has been raining, so some of this stuff is getting damaged. I can see some Thomas stuff there. We'll get back to that very soon. But right in front of me here are two vacuum cleaners. Now, what's miraculous about this? Well, then again, it's not miraculous, because I see this all the time. These look barely used. There's hardly any scratches on these things, okay? We know where these are going to be made, don't we? Hey, it's always the same sort of place. Okay, that's the first one there. Made in China. At the moment I can't see a date. But I don't really need to see a date, because I can tell that has not been used. It's basically, well, near new. Here's another one here. This is a Hoover. It's Hoover Cat and Dog. Now, what is miraculous about this one? It's still got its tag here, so I don't think this has ever been played with. What do you think? There's the filter there. Maybe it has had a run, but they've kept a tag on it. I mean, what is going on here, eh? The cable's been cut. And we'll take a look at this one. Maybe this will tell us something. All of these sort of read as the same, don't they, in these generic cleaners? The only thing there is hoover.com.au and blah blah. When I see the brand name Hoover, wow, it used to have a lot of respect. All our vacuum cleaners when I was a kid were Hoovers. We used to say grab the Hoover. It was actually a brand name. Seeing Cat and Dog, I dare say that's some sort of marketing ploy there. And James Dyson's Wikipedia page, or Dyson's Wikipedia page, reads about him having a Hoover back in the 70s that got clogged, and that started him on his discovery of why, well, vacuum cleaners get clogged and don't do their job after sometimes a very short time. And maybe we look at the filter here will tell us more of a story about what's going on here. Okay, that's the problem with these styles of cleaners. That gets clogged, and this is like another bit here. And yes, it has been used, and it's all clogged up, and they lose suction, and that's what sent Dyson on his mission of discovery. Anyway, put that there, and there's a bit of hose work there. Some Thomas stuff here. I mean, you just see, you know, scatterings of this on the rubbish piles, hey? That's rather nice. And I think what tells a much grander story, and I'm seeing a lot of this. I know this part here is from a Trackmaster 2 playset. I think it was a thing where Harold did a rescue from a bridge set that was up there, but it's these parts here, which are not track parts, basically become useless. Okay, I'm seeing this over and over in the rubbish piles, and it's painting a picture of Trackmaster 2, eh? Luckily for you, I've actually got very good Thomas eyes. I can pick off bits of play sets that most people wouldn't be able to recognise. And I think from memory, it gets set up like that. And I'm trying to think what triggered that button now, or was it you that triggered the button? Well, there goes my memory shot, isn't it? But you press that, and that would go down in a very rescue-y, slow sort of way. It might need some sped up video to see it doing what it should be doing. Wow, that is a terribly slow rescue there by Harold, isn't it? Luckily it's sped up to make it look like more fun. Yeah, how many times do I say when you take a look at what's been thrown out, it really paints a picture of what's really going on, hey? Now, I did look around for other track parts. I went through the bags and all, and I think all I could find, I think that's a bit of take and play. Was that from a spiral set? Yeah, I think that's a spiral set, because those tags went into the core of the spiral. Again, I call those unconventional track parts. Look where they are. And this bag sort of paints a picture. You know, if we had the charity shop, things like this would have ended up back there. Okay, there's things like that, which is basically rubbish. So there's another Trackmaster 2 part there. It's one of those weirdo bits of track. It's really confirming the things that I said in my review videos, isn't it? It really is. I didn't really want to focus on these, but this is almost becoming comical. There's one office chair there. Okay, and then this is This is not a setup. There's another one there and a bit of office stuff there. There's another one there. There's another one there. They're starting to lose count, and the last one is right there. Oh, and just as I walk along here, this bin here is going to be the focus of an upcoming video. That is if my YouTube channel doesn't totally collapse. These are my favourite styles of videos to produce, although they're not very popular, just having a shadow talking here on the ground. And hopefully my message in these videos is not too subtle enough for you to pick up. I'm hoping we're learning something from the videos, hey? And here is, as I'm walking along, another little pile of very sort of young child toy orientated stuff on the rubbish pile. A bit of a frog sort of toy there. Don't know what that was. It's a strange one. Sometimes I see things like this and I start to get curious, but not this time. And over here, yes, I'm not a keen fan of this style of toy. I won't get too much into it. Yeah, I think basically the iPad in the sense is blowing this style of toy out of the water now. This is very much something that would be very hard pressed to sell. I've looked at the rubbish piles for many years where I live, and there's one thing I've noticed: there are the same houses over and over which will display piles of rubbish, and I'm just going past some now. I don't think we'll take a look at that. And there's another one up here coming up, but then again there are the other houses that never ever present a pile of rubbish out the front of the house, and I often wonder, are they the hoarders? Well, going by what I see there, those people are definitely not hoarders. And there is another microwave oven. We won't get too close to that. I think we've had our microwave talk in this video, but there's one of those peculiar Tower of Power type fish things, like novelty thing that has a light and all in it. Remember those? Yeah. Well, guess what? It's on the rubbish pile. I'm watching a red bin go into a garbage truck. We love it, don't we? Yeah. In it goes. Ooh, yeah. Down safely. Nice work. Oh, one of my favourites that I see on the rubbish piles, it's little plastic cars that children ride in like this. I've not seen a style like that one before. I'm almost thinking it's the Wiggles red car. And if I look at this here very carefully, is that saying Wiggles there, or am I just getting it wrong? Let's take a look at the brand of this one. Okay, Little Tykes, that's nice to see. What I like about Little Tykes cars is most times when I see them out in the rubbish pile, and I've seen many of them, they tend to all have their wheels still on. There's still play left in this. It's a little bit sun faded, but I think Little Tykes do a very good job at these sort of toys. And I wouldn't be surprised at all if someone doesn't come and collect that little red car before the rubbish truck does. I see the strangest things sometimes when I'm looking at the rubbish piles, and up on the pile here, which is normally a no stopping sign, some hooligans gone and put that on top. Hooligans! Hooligans! Black helmets for children. Quite common to see that. You don't often see a toilet, boxes of stuff here, miscellaneous rubbish. But what's up here? Oh yeah, okay, one of those. Rightio, it's a Hoover vacuum cleaner smart model. Ooh, who had these? Looks rather snazzy, doesn't it? I was reading the Dyson Wikipedia page, and it speaks about the fact that companies like Hoover, their empire revolved around selling bags for cleaners. I wonder if this is a bag model. Okay, this is a great example to take a look at. It's like looking at bygone technology. Yes, it's things like this here. If I get it out without killing myself, vacuum cleaner companies would sell these, and that was their empire in a sense. You know, sell a cheap vacuum cleaner, but you keep making money from the bags. And I think it's a little bit like the home printer sort of setup, where you keep buying those expensive inks, yet the printers are dirt cheap. Oh, nice puff of dust out of the Hoover Smart. I wonder what year model this is, or will it be hidden away? There it is there, model Smart, Hoover. Can you work anything out from numbers there? Made in China. I'll possibly sound like a broken record here, but as I often say, with cleaners like this, I'm looking for scuff marks and things. There are a few scuff marks on this, and that to me that tells me the best indication of how much work this has done. The wand is with this Hoover Smart here, and again you can often get indication of what's going on by looking at how much this is banged around. Okay, in a forensic sort of analysis here, although it's not forensic, I can see some marks on this, but you know what, I've seen far worse than that. Walking around for rubbish, you know, I see all sorts of things. It's great actually. And actually look at this here. This is early morning. This doesn't look good. This looks like a stolen bike. It's not a share bike. Have a good look at this here. It's in pretty good nick. In fact, I think I saw this the other day in front of the Great Wall. There's a building where I live, we call it the Great Wall because, well, there's nothing great about it. Yeah, that's me. Now see this here, that looks like it's a stolen bike, and it's become like the rogue share bike used in the suburb. I'll just pick this up. Normally you can tell if a bike's an expensive one by its weight. It's a little bit heavy, although it looks in really good nick. I mean, if this was my son's bike, he would be really, really disappointed if it had just gone missing. Yeah, the brakes still feel good. Oh, you know, there'd be some poor child in the suburb and the bike's been, like, you know, taken from the front of his place or whatever, you know, and it's just been dumped. It's just sickening. What I'll do is I'm going to take this up to the bike rack in front of the shops. I'm not on the Facebook page where stuff like this gets reported. I did tell a few other people that I knew in the suburb, but if I put it in a more prominent position, there's a better chance of it being found. I'll put the bike into the bike rack, and my luck is that someone will see me walking with that, and I'll report like a guy from a star stolen a bike in B-Town. Okay, do a bit of a quickie here. Oh, I see one of those metal garden sculptures, sort of made in China things. You see them in the shops and you think you need one, don't you? Well, where I live, these things turn into redback spider homes, and that's basically their only purpose in life from what I've worked out. Oh, I see another rubbish pile, and there's actually a very, very, very curious car further up there if I do one of those wacko zooms. But first off, we'll take a look over this quite beautiful pile of rubbish. I'm not really seeing anything that special here. Oh, I can do another Disney take here. There's a beautiful Buzz Lightyear chair. The thing, there's a couple of things I don't like about these styles of chairs. The fact that they're all foam. If you ever see one of these on fire, run for your life. It's a fold out bed thing. Okay, but it's just, I don't know, we want less foam in our house, don't we, Buzz? Maybe you'll have something to say about that. I'm not sure really there's anything else on here of any particular interest. Well, there's a few memories there actually. Just let me take a look at this. I remember these, well, from a bygone era in a sense, because little screens had done away with something like this. It's like a little miniature tube TV in a sense. I remember the colour ones were very expensive, the black and white ones were cheaper, and I just also remember they had rotten reception. Just curious where this one's made. Let me take a look and see if I can work it out. There's that info there, and if I do a very careful camera move, there's also that there, sort of secretive code stuff. I think the information I really want to see is hiding on that sticker there, and we're probably never going to work it out. I had one of these. I actually used one of these TVs in that video I made, Mad Bomber. It was a screen that I used in the set to show all of the train videos in a sense that the trains were looking at. There's a bit of, that'll trigger some people, I can tell you, but I've got some very fond memories of this, very much a bygone era bit of gear. Okay, this is a absolutely spectacular car. I remember when I worked on Fury Road when it was in Australia, it was this style of car that was Immortan Joe's car. It was actually built up from a number of them, and getting curved windscreens, we actually made some in Australia. Very hard piece to get. Very impressive car to me because you just do not see these cars in Australia. I remember when they were hunting for them to find multiple cars for Fury Road, they had a lot of trouble finding these styles of cars. Just walking around here, it's one of these things that just captures your eye. total Americana type car. This is the rear of the car, although some may argue it looks like the front. This is the other side here. Just beautiful, really, and fairly rare to see in Australia. For the fact it's got cracked windscreens and the paint jobs, all over the shop, and something sticking up out of the bonnet there, rust and everything. I love it when they look like this. To me, that's just adding so much character to the car. Looks like it's got bullet holes through the side here. Is that telling me something about the suburb where I live? Also, another nice bullet hole there. Maybe in Australia there are people looking out for these types of cars and parts for them, but in America they're grabbing the XB Ford Coupe, which is of course Mad Max's car. It's a peculiar juxtapose of the need for some very exotic classic style cars, but that is just a stunner. I just love the way it's all falling apart. Well, that's the amazing building that still nobody wants to be in, and it's been like that for, well, since it was built. I think that car I looked at, I think it's a late 1950s Plymouth. Please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know that much about cars. I learned a little bit while I worked on Fury Road. I never went overseas on the shoot in Africa. I worked on it for over a year in Australia, and boy oh boy, was it a complex film, or building up to be a very complex film, and I think it's an astonishing film to look at. I'll show you some pictures along the way here of things that I saw while I was on the film. And the peculiar thing that's happened, and I learnt this from YouTube videos about Mad Max's Ford Coupe, that's an XB Ford Coupe, is it was hard enough to find them for Fury Road because they needed a couple for Fury Road. But I thought, finding parts or finding multiple Plymouths were difficult. Well, finding multiple Ford Coupes was even more so, because what's happening is, in America, they're grabbing those cars hard and fast, paying goodness knows how much money for basically wrecks, and they're making Mad Max cars out of them. It's a very popular thing to do, and there's YouTube channels devoted to this, and it's quite astonishing content. Yeah, Fury Road, man, what a film. And really watch it multiple times, listen to the dialogue as well. Okay, it's one of these things, a bit like the Wizard of Oz. Just watch it once and watch that dog Toto and be amazed. Okay, so you listen, you watch it for the visuals, go back and then watch it again, and watch another component of it, go back and watch it and listen to the dialogue. There's so many layers of things going in that film. It's just astonishing, amazing film. And in the walk there, when I was babbling about Mad Max, it brings me to this used to be the charity shop. Has been gone for about a year now. Somebody bought this property and they had dreams of a chocolate factory, and guess what? The dreams collapsed. I actually looked into purchasing this property and redeeming the charity shop back into the suburb, but then I fell into some financial problems, all thanks to YouTube. Yes, that's where it used to be. The signs are still there on the outside. I know how much this property is up for sale. Actually, I know how much the person bought it for, put it that way. But the real estate agent's playing a few little games about how much he's asking for this piece of B-Town. I don't know that much about commercial property. It incorporates this part of the building here. There's a doorway there, and it also incorporates another section down there that you really can't see. Yes, every time I read that sign, I get a lump in my throat. This is the heart of the suburb which has been ripped out. Yes, commercial property, dangerous at the best of times. And the other aspect is that the shopping centre here, well, there are people trying to have plans to redevelop it and put, unit blocks up into the sky there. I think when I heard, some of the plans that were going on, I think it really made the proposition of grabbing this to be way too dangerous to think about. Another glorious pile of assorted rubbish, and I think people wonder, wow, Leo, what's the message in the videos when you do these? What is the core message? I think quite simply the core message is don't mess with stuff like this. Okay, anything that's cheap, generic sort of stuff, made in China rubbish, it's going to cause nothing but heartache and blow your dough. Okay, and what's this one here? Wow, it's been a bit of a theme in this video, isn't it? Hey, homemaker. Is it saying in a year there, or is it secretly hidden away? Well, I can see made in China. That's the problem. And for some reason we've lapsed into this complacency that we're happy to have rubbish made in China served up to us that only lasts a very short time, and somehow we see value in that. And there's an item here, it's another very common thing that I see. It's just a cheap clothesline, and the problem with these is, well, the plastic gets taken out by the UV of the sun, things break on this, they are horribly unstable. But they're just rubbish from China. Now the strange thing here is at the end of the video I'm going to revisit something at home, but I'll also revisit a clothesline that was my mum's that was made in Australia. Well, do you remember this part of town? This is a few days after I shot the incredible Disney Princess Tower of Power. The good news is it looks like it has found a new home. It was sitting right there, but I can't see it now. And do you remember this little area here? Do you remember what I showed here? Well, it's no longer here, and that's very good news as well. It was that nice little rocking pony, rocking horse has found a new home. Well, the shopping cart that the kids play Fortnite with in the suburb in real life is still here. 1 week later, Coles still haven't come and collected it. They say it's going to become part of the architecture of the suburb. But do you remember this area here and what was here? Oh yeah, that little Razor electric mini bike. It's been picked up. It was right there, I'm sure. It's just a shame that someone hasn't come along and picked up the real menace of the suburb. Do you remember this rubbish pile here? I think there was it a VTech toy? Looks like that's been repurposed. Okay, do you remember what resided between those two poles apart from my fat shadow? Yes, that Rustic cement mixer. It has been repurposed. It was too good to leave on the rubbish piles. Okay, do you remember what resided in that gap there? Well, someone has picked up that battery-powered quad that had the redback spider infestation. The piece that I broke off the front of the quad is still here with all of the spiders on a stick. I'm really feeling guilty. I should have put a sign over that item saying, "Don't touch redback spiders." And what I should have pointed out when I looked at this egg sac area before is just how prolific they are in breeding. Each egg sac would have about 250 spiderlings, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 egg sacs. 5 times 250. You want to do the maths on that, or is it going to scare you too much? Maybe whoever picked up that quad will watch this video and then reconsider their pickup, eh? I'll tidy up a bit. Okay, we're going to finish this video up, and I'm back at home now, and I'm going to talk about those last, but the first thing I'm going to talk about is this is the clothesline from my mum's house. We've had this, well, I remember it back when I was a kid, so it's going back to the 60s. Hey, what about this, hey? Still looking good, isn't it, hey? Well, let's just take a look and see where it was made. Well, on the edge there, I think it reads Suplex Products, Bankstown, New South Wales. That's here in Sydney, Australia. This here really is an insight into a totally different era in Australia. Back when things were made here, back when things lasted, well, multiple lifetimes. They weren't on the rubbish heap in a matter of years. Okay, seen that Phaco vacuum cleaner which had the Dyson style insert had me looking at my Dyson at home. This is from a real Dyson, the one that I purchased many years ago, and it's still a goer. And what had me spooked about that other one was the fact that you could see through the cones, but on a real Dyson, I don't think you can see that. In fact, I've never been able to work out how to get apart this top section here. And to totally derail this video and getting sidetracked on the wrong sort of thing, that is Dyson vacuum cleaners, I've got my collection here of older model of Dyson vacuum cleaners, and I think the one that emulates that mysterious blue one the most is this Dyson DC24. Just have a quick look at this area here. This is one I picked up off the rubbish piles, and my saying is you rarely see a Dyson on the rubbish piles. Okay, I've got that section free. Very similar design to what I saw going on in that other, I think I can take this out, in that other very strange cleaner. So can I, oh man. It's a complete rip-off of this. It's exactly the same from what I can see here, but I'm not going to get totally derailed at the moment looking at that. I can see right down through those cones, so wow. It's got me spooked. Ooh. I will go and collect that blue clone vacuum cleaner, which seems to be emulating this, and we'll have to do a bit of a pull down and try and get both of them running to see which one's got the better tech. It was horribly sounding like an ad for Dyson, but these days they don't speak to people like me. Anyway, I'll roll this away and I'll get on to this is something I picked up off the rubbish piles at night. It is the most peculiar thing. I grabbed it because there are other people looking at this as well. But what stopped a lot of people from taking this was its weight. This thing weighs a ton. I can barely pick it up. Okay, it's got railway pins. These are the things that hold the rail down on a railway, which are hammered into the sleepers. It's got a checker thing going on here. I mean, who knows what this is? Maybe my audience can work out what this is. And the wood on this thing is also very heavy. I think it's some form of hardwood. The strangest thing I've ever seen in my life, and because it's so strange is the reason why I brought it back home, but it's been a mystery to me exactly what it's for. There may be a cryptic sort of religious message in this. I mean, who knows? You know, stairway to heaven with railway spikes. But all I know is that it's the sort of thing that when I saw it, I just had to grab it, and well, it's mine now. It sits on the front porch of our house. And maybe a nice way to finish off this very bizarre video is put this thing back where it belongs, up near the front door. Yeah, one man's trash is definitely another man's treasure.